ladies. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
And today we have three ladies on: Bidi, Sarah, Johanna, and Katie. They are all pregnant. This is our 100th episode, and we are going to be talking all things pregnancy today. And so we've talked a little bit before we started recording, but we have about 20-ish questions that we're going to try and get answered. We're going to be answering them and have conversations about it. But before we get started, ladies, can you go around and tell a little bit about yourself? Bidi, would you like to start?
I'm Bidi. I'm from Portugal, but I live in Croatia with my partner. This is our first child. It's a pretty funny story. And I think I'm a web designer and a blogger. Like I'm shifting right now my career to become a writer and more of a content creator and less tech. I'm at week 29. And if you see me doing this, because I have serious heartburn and I'm like, eating yogurt before eating tips are welcome. Yogurt, cucumbers, give it to me.
Good. Sarah, you want to go next?
Yeah, I'm Sarah. I'm pregnant with 33 weeks with my first. It has taken us 10 years to get here, so I'm so grateful. Yeah, my husband and I own a shop. It's a deli that I own.
You know what we haven't answered is how old you are.
Oh, I'm 44.
Bidi, how
So
old are
I'm
you?
44.
43.
Okay, awesome. And Katie?
I'm the oldest. I'm 46, about to turn 47 in a week, 6 days' time.
Congrats.
Thank you. I'm pregnant with my second. I have a little girl that's 3 years, 5 months that I had when I was 43. And this is baby number 2, the final baby. And it's going to be a boy. He's due on the 3rd of October.
Congratulations, ladies. That's awesome. Katie is actually a returning guest. So you are one of the few guests that are coming on a second time, which is super fun.
Yes, the journey of the first pregnancy is a long one.
Yeah.
The journey of the second pregnancy is an even longer one.
Oh, gosh. You want to start off with that? What has your journey looked like getting pregnant for the second time, Katie?
IVF both times. The first time was first embryo transferred, was a success. So I think I went into the second expecting it to be as straightforward. And unfortunately, it wasn't. Obviously, making the decision to go for a second, knowing that I was going to be over the 45-ish mark, was the first hurdle. And then obviously choosing the way that we would do it. So it was through donor eggs. So we had to make the decision about where we were going to go. So that took some time. Contemplating the fact that obviously it wasn't going to be the same donor because we only had one successful. No, we had to go for new ones because we only had one successful embryo. So first time was one shot or nothing, was the one shot. This time round, we got 3 embryos and the first 2 failed. I looked back and thought I wasn't going to go through it again. I wasn't going to put myself through it. I believe I was probably going through perimenopause symptoms at the time as well. My periods were all over the place, trying to coordinate it. So it took about 15 months in total. We found out on Christmas Eve that the second transfer had failed. And I was obviously devastated because I was trying to make my daughter have a lovely Christmas. But then it was a case of, if I'm doing it now. On Boxing Day, I started my meds again. Rang the fertility clinic and said, it's happening now. I'm just going for it. Because in a way, I wanted it to be over. So it wasn't knowing that there was an embryo there to transfer and then wondering if I ever shoulda, woulda, coulda. But it was a lot different. And I actually tested. You're not meant to test, but I tested at the 10th day, saw the little pink line, and I was like, the light pink line, I was like, did I do that right? I'll test again tomorrow. So I tested for 3 days before my official test, and when I went to the clinic and said, I've tested, and it's positive, they were like, well, it's definitely positive, then you don't even have to wait for your blood results. So that was an amazing phone call to get when you know you're already pregnant, to be told you're pregnant.
Yes.
By your fertility clinic.
Yeah.
So yeah. And then to find out we were having a little boy, as well. So we've got a girl and a boy. It just felt like it was meant to be.
That's
And my
great.
daughter is so excited to be a big sister.
Yeah. And to do with donor eggs again with a second donor.
Yeah.
That's really great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Joanna, welcome to the show.
Hi, how are you guys?
Good.
Hello, hello.
Would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Joanne Wilson's the name, and I'm calling in from South Florida, in an area called Hollywood, and I'm 44 and 6 months pregnant.
Wonderful. And is this your first child also?
Yes.
Awesome. So everybody, this is your first child except for Katie. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Sarah, would you like to tell us how your journey looked getting pregnant?
Yeah, so it was 10 years. It was unexplained infertility for 8 of those years and not really very helpful from the UK medical board. Then obviously we had COVID within that time, so all our clinics were shut down. And then when we got back into things reopening and such, I'd missed the deadline for NHS IVF because they cut us off at 42. So we decided to go private. We tried one round with my own eggs, which was unsuccessful. It was chemical. And then we decided that we would do donor eggs. And we had 4 viable embryos. The first 2 failed, and then this is the third. And thankfully, has taken so well. Touch wood. This has just been a wild ride to get here. My smile says it all now, but trust me, I've been sat rocking, crying as well at times, as we all know. It's a very hard journey.
Yeah, congratulations again. Lucky number 3.
Yeah.
Bidi, what about you? What was your journey like to pregnancy?
Okay, it's weird. I was in a long distance relationship with my partner for 3 years. He's 57 now. He has his birthday in July. And we were on and off for several years because I was a digital nomad for many years and I was traveling and coming back and forth. He's Croatian. And then we said, okay, let's move in together. And I'm 43. We moved in last Christmas. We just never did anything. We just old-fashioned way. And my birthday, February, I turned 43, and I was late, and I was like, okay, maybe because we were looking at it, we never even talked about it, and it was like, he's 57, I'm 43. It's like the end of the road. I'm okay with not having kids. I climbed the Kilimanjaro. I did some crazy stuff. I was a digital nomad. I was prepared for not having kids in my life, and I'm old-fashioned way. It took us like I don't know, like 2 months of just having. Can I say sex?
Sure, yeah.
On the air, you know,
That's
that
awesome.
allowed.
Only
That's what
2
happened.
months. Wow.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I arrived the day before Christmas, and in February and end of February, I was late. That's it.
Wow. Joanna, what about you?
I'm on the other end of that spectrum. It's been a 15-year journey.
Oh.
And after just 15 years of believing and not losing hope and trusting God, it's been finally, this was the time. Interestingly enough, I never got a diagnosis from any doctor saying I was infertile. It just wasn't happening. Tried all kinds of procedures from IUIs. I even did like a massage thing where this random local naturalist came and did just a massage in that area. And it was just like, okay, we're going to do that, from like medical to holistic to natural. And then finally, IVF was the last stop. And we tried many years to avoid that. IVF just seems like the extreme. And so we went there finally. And so the first time we did IVF, they offered different packages and things like that. And so I was like, all right, we're just going to go ahead and get the single package because it's going to be a one-shot deal and we're done.
Mhm.
And I'm like, of course it's going to work. And so we did that. We got that one-shot deal and thought everything was all good until it wasn't. Did not work. Devastated, spent all that money, insurance didn't cover it, all that. And so it took a while before we went back on that journey, and we did. And this time I was like, all right, well, I guess we should get the package, the unlimited package. And we had 5 embryos there, which was really hopeful. And first one, nothing, didn't work. Second one, didn't work. Third one, and mind you, it's really the fourth one. Fourth one, finally we get the call that I'm pregnant. So that was like the first time ever hearing that
Oh, wow.
in my life, and just super, just so happy. And I believe that was like maybe 3 or 4 years ago. And so was going through that process, super excited. 3 weeks in, miscarriage. I'm sitting at my boutique at the time. I had a fashion boutique, working per usual. Didn't feel right, went to the bathroom, and that was that. Didn't know that was the end of it, but called the doctor saying bathroom trip was not normal. I knew something just, it did not feel right. Rushed home and then rushed to the doctor, and he confirmed that there was nothing there. So basically, I had miscarried. To experience that is like one of the most devastating things. The death of a loved one is usually at the top of the list of devastating life experiences, but a miscarriage, I think what makes that even worse is the hope. The hope is just knocked from your being, and you don't expect it. Went through that, took a minute, took a while to go back on the journey, but we did, and went ahead and did the fifth transfer by this time. And again, I get the good news. It's interesting that we didn't celebrate as much because we were bracing ourselves like, okay, we'll see if this one works. And it's so hard to not allow yourself to be happy and celebrate, right? So the worry was something else. You just don't know. You're too scared to even be happy. 4 weeks in, we lost that one as well. We just talked to our doctor, and I was just like, is there anything different that we need to do for this last one? I had one more embryo left. Because I was like, I'm not going to just go into it. And then we didn't do anything different. And so found out that I had fibroids, and the doctor said that the fibroids were inconsequential. Basically, they weren't big enough to raise any concerns, so they never dealt with it. But the crazy thing, I never heard anything about that. No one ever pointed them out, big or small. This is the first time I'm ever hearing about fibroid. I'm like, what? I think it would have been great to know that so that I could have made a decision.
Yeah. So what
And
happened?
I told him, take them out. I want them removed. We're not gonna do this transfer again while with these fibroids. So I did. I got a myomectomy and removed them. It was about 4 of them, and then waited for the healing process, probably about a year. And then we did the final embryo transfer. And this is the one that I'm 6 months pregnant now. It's
Wow.
farthest we've ever gotten.
Wow.
Um,
Lucky number
yeah,
6.
number 6, and it's just been a beautiful pregnancy so far. And at 44, I'm just like, I'm thinking, how could this be so good? And every day I'm bracing myself. I'm like, is this going to be like this? Because it's just been such a blessing.
Yeah. Now you waited a year to heal. Was that the doctor's recommendation, or was that what you wanted to do?
It was me, and there's a healing process. So the healing process is 6 months, but also I had to prepare my heart spiritually. And so it was like, when God says yes, this is the time, that's just when it happened.
That's awesome. I feel like once we're not pregnant anymore, once we give birth, we have rose-colored glasses on about the pregnancy. So tell me, do you like being pregnant?
I am confused. I don't know if I like it or not.
Yeah,
It's,
that's okay.
I know I had a miracle. Like everybody I was talking to about was like, are you for real? The doctor were in shock because I thought I'm going to check for perimenopause. Okay, I went because I was late. And ever since it was pretty easy going. Like aside from mild symptoms, no nausea. I gained weight, not too much. I'm still very active. I do a lot of sports. So physically, I'm really healthy.
Mhm.
Mentally, I've lost my identity. I don't know who I am anymore. And my brain is an omelette. I don't know who I am anymore. I don't know what will, I'm like, it's like I'm standing in front of a cliff, in front of a black, this is my first child, so a black valley in front of me that I don't know what will happen. I don't know who I am. How will I be? I didn't like, I'm looking at you guys, you girls, and I'm like excited. I'm excited with you, but I never had that excitement. Like, I'm like, yeah, sure, let's go. I don't know. An adventure.
Yeah.
I'm quite in shock, I have to tell you, like I have to admit. So
I was the
I don't
same
know.
way. I spent the whole pregnancy just not really positive I was going to get there. So I understand that completely.
What I love hearing her, because
Yeah,
one
it's so
minute
honest.
right, and she's talking about climbing Mount Kilimanjaro, and
Yeah.
this is the thing that is scary or surprising. That's such a funny contrast or
Well,
an
I,
experience.
I, I was a solo female traveler for 6 years on my own in East Africa, in South America, in Central Asia, in places that are not so commonly touristed. Some are very touristed. That was courageous. This now, I don't know how to cope with it even. I don't know. But everybody's so proud of my partner. If you want to ask me something honest, if I may, it's a patriarch society. So whenever we tell people that now they see it or whatever, but before that, when we were announcing it and telling it like, oh, go, you go, Ivan, you're really cool because you're 57. You're the hero here. I'm here, like being pregnant. And I got the miracle beating biology, but he's the good, you knocked her up at 57. Good for you, guy. You know that. And so he's the one getting all the pat in the back and all that. And I'm like, guys,
I'm
what?
working hard over here.
Yeah.
The men have to do maximum, what, 8 minutes of work.
Yeah.
When it's
It was
IVF, not
good, but
even really that
Yeah, yeah.
much.
Yes.
It's a couple of minutes, if that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. That's funny. Katie, what about you? Do you like being pregnant?
Because my last pregnancy, I didn't even think about anything going wrong. From the minute I was pregnant, I was just like, it's happening. But this pregnancy, I did have bleeding in the first few weeks. Then I found out I had a hematoma, and then it was like I was getting scanned every 2 weeks. So I couldn't relax into it for a good while until past the 13-week mark. Then I started to feel a little bit more comfortable. And then I promised myself that I was gonna enjoy this pregnancy more, and then I take some time out with just me and him and talk to him and all of that. And it just hasn't happened. I think it's harder when you've got a 3-year-old that also needs your attention. When I was looking at for the photos to send, I was like, not only is there very few photos of us three as a family, there's also very few photos of me pregnant. So I'm like, I need to take some photos for the last 3 weeks of my pregnancy, because I've been taking like shots that are showing the development, but obviously not ones that I can share on Instagram. So I was like, I haven't done what I said I was going to do and actually enjoy it more, because I know that this is the last one and I'm lucky to be here again. I wanted to put a lot more effort into it, but it's been a completely different pregnancy. And like now at the later stages, I'm getting the Braxton Hicks, or Branston Hicks, as my daughter calls them. I've been in and out of the maternity assessment centre last week with worries that I was in early labour. He hadn't turned, now he has turned. So he's really putting me through the ringer. So it's more of the worry now coming towards the end stage. I know I'm at a good place, but then obviously there's the issues around the birth. So it's a bit more stressful, I think,
Yeah.
than I wanted it to be. I had very good visions of it being a dream, listening to music and rubbing my belly, and that's just not happened.
Joanna, what about you? Do you like
The
being pregnant?
I do. The first 3.5 months were very unexpected though, because a doctor put me on bed rest. And interestingly, my IVF doctor did not suggest that, but I was also going to another doctor who she does Chinese medicine and things like that. So she put me on the bed rest, and I decided to listen to her just because I'd been listening to the IVF doctor for all these other ones. So 3.5 months in bed sounds nice, or For a person like that was a nightmare. But I did end up writing a book about my experience. So that was really nice.
Oh, nice.
And for the months when I was out of quarantine, it's been great. I feel great. And I will say this, I feel sexy. I like that. I hope that doesn't go away. My husband's really loving it and probably contributing to how I feel about myself. That's my honest to God truth. I feel like my skin is softer. People are super nice and
Yeah.
everybody wants to do everything for you. And I'm like,
Bring it.
okay. And I'm very independent, but it is nice to have people open doors and carry stuff for you all the time.
Yeah. I commend you for writing a book. Like, how productive of you to be on bed rest and write a book at the same time.
The funny thing is that the book is about rest and the book is about my laying down my usual desire and need to be productive. So that's the funny thing. So even as I was writing it, and I didn't intend to even make it a book for anyone to even, not even a book, it was really journaling. It's all about Sabbath rest and my story of pregnancy woven throughout it.
Oh, that's
And
great. I love that. Sarah, what about you? Do you like being pregnant?
Absolutely love it.
Oh,
Absolutely love it. And I didn't think that it's not that I wouldn't love it, but with what it took for me to get here, I thought the whole pregnancy would be rife with problems. And Joanna, I've got a fibroid that's the elephant in the room. It's on the back wall of my womb and it's the size of a grapefruit. They couldn't, by the time they found it, it was a full hysterectomy if I wanted to get rid of it. They couldn't remove
wow.
it without too big a risk to my life. Because I wasn't done at that point with the IVF, we just said we just have to go with it and see what happens. So that's there. When she kicks it or she's near it, I can feel it.
Oh, wow.
It's quite painful. But no, pregnancy for me has been an absolute dream.
Wow.
I haven't had any morning sickness. I haven't gained really an ounce of weight. I have been active. I train a few times a week with a personal trainer and I'm quite active in my job. I think I could do with your book as well to say how to stop and slow down, because that's the one thing that everybody's been going at me, because I've still been working hard in the shop, because when you're self-employed, you have to keep going.
Yep.
And so I've just gone, and now I'd say I'm slowing down a little bit because I'm being pushed. I'm getting towards the end, and now I'm also thinking, not regretting at all, but wishing that maybe I had stopped a little bit sooner, because I just absolutely love the feeling of being pregnant. I sit there at night and just watch my stomach move, and my husband will be like, "Are you watching this of whatever we've got on the television?" I'm like, I have the best show, because the baby's moving. And because I just never thought that I would be in this situation when I was saying about the embryos as well. And the second donor I was pregnant and we miscarried. And what you were saying there, Joanne, as well, is the fact that you get into a position where you think you've been through hell. And then all of a sudden you get that positive pregnancy test and you think, this is it. We've made it. We've done it. And then the cruelty is that you've still got to then head into that miscarriage club, and it's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
And so I think I'm quite a positive person in life anyway. And so even after the last 10 years of the grief that I've been through, I found life positive. I love where I live. I love what I do, my friends, my family. And I've applied that to the pregnancy, I think. And as a result, I have just loved it. To the point I'm actually quite a little bit disappointed it is coming to a close, because I'm like really enjoying it. But yeah, it's the symptoms haven't been there. And I thought, yeah, like I say, I thought I'd be absolutely rife with them. I'd be back and forth to clinics, every movement, everything that twinged. I thought I'd be, oh no, what's happening, panicking. And I just haven't. My husband has, but I haven't. I've just really enjoyed it. And I really, yeah, I'm sad that it's coming towards the end, but also looking forward to the after as well. So the fibroid's just behaving every time we go for the scan. everything. They just keep saying, oh, she's perfect. She's doing really well. She's looking really well. She's growing so healthily. And I just can't ask for anything better. So I love it. As for this one, I've just loved it. I really think it's the best thing in the world.
That's awesome.
I'm just so super grateful, I think.
Yeah, I love that. Now, let's talk about your birth plan. Joanne, you want to talk about your birth plan?
Sure. I actually did it this past week or started working on it. We hired a doula. What's really fun is that my OB is my cousin. So it's not just because she's family, she's brilliant. And then find out that I have another cousin that's a doula. So I was like, okay, we're going to do this as a family. So my cousin's my doula. She's amazing. And she's helping me with the birth plan. What's on it? Some of the things that we talked through were, I think, one of the most interesting things that I had no idea about, because this is my first time, was the cord and cord blood, which that's a whole thing, which I'm just learning about, and how you can select on your birth plan or put it on your birth plan to do delayed cord cutting. So I want that. For those that don't know what that is, just it allows all of the blood to flow to the baby, because a lot of times they'll cut it too early, and then there's all kind of theories about what happens to the blood and what they do with it. But I want all the blood to go to the baby. So that's a thing. Put that on the birth plan. Another important thing that I included was the vaccines and shots and eye gels, things that they put on the baby that I don't want that. Personal choice. I know that's a very personal thing.
What about being induced? Are you okay with being induced?
I have to do a C-section.
Okay.
Because of the fibroid removal that was done. Anytime you get a puncture or any kind of surgery that punctures your uterus, you have to go C-section, because the risk is that the womb will open up. And so I don't think that's for me, or induction's not an option for me.
Sure.
I think for what related to C-sections, they ask you if you want your hands, one hand free. So that's on my birth plan, because when you're doing a C-section, they want you really still, so they tie your hands down. And so you can request to have one hand free, so that when the baby is born, you can hold the baby for the skin to skin moment. So I put that on there. I put the golden hour moment on there, which is that they stay on you for the first hour. So they really get that connection. And then also included that if I'm too all over the place or not able to do the skin to skin, that my husband would be able to do it. So that's on there. There's all fluffy stuff like, what do you want the room to smell like and all that. Can I have music? So all that stuff is there. And then I want the doula in the room, so I put that on there, but that's just based on whatever the anesthesiologist decides, because the area in which the space in which they would occupy, that area belongs to the anesthesiologist. So that's a thing. But so we find out on the day of whether or not the doula will be allowed to be in there. And then the other thing that was interesting is you choose whether or not you want the clear.
Yes.
Like a clear cloth, or what is that called? It's either you get the blue one or the clear one, so you could see everything that's happening. So right now I've chosen I would not like to see it all. So maybe that'll change later. I don't know.
Yeah.
So those are just some of the things that are on my birth plan.
Nice. Katie, are you back?
I also had a myomectomy and had a fibroid removed 11 years ago, unrelated to pregnancy. And for my first pregnancy, I was told a C-section was the only option. So that's what I went. But this time I've done a lot more research around having a VBAC, which, for those of you that don't know, vaginal birth after C-section. And it's really important to me to try for that and put myself in every position possible to be able to do it. C-section is going to be my last option. I'm going to go induction before C-section. Again, I don't ideally want that. Obviously, being older, the advanced maternal age, my doctor is pushing for me not to go over. She said 39 weeks, But I got out of that by saying, that's my birthday. Who wants to give birth on their birthday? Let's push it a few days. And then I've managed to get it booked in for the 1st of October, but I'm pushing it. I'm going back and saying, no, we're doing it on my due date. And then I'm going for stretch and sweeps leading up to it from 39 weeks. I'm going to do miles circuit. I'm going to do curb walking. I'm going to do colostrum harvesting. I'm going to try absolutely everything to get this baby to come out the natural way before I have to be put into the induction process. But again, doing my research it's my choice. Obviously, I want him to come out healthy, but I can refuse. And a friend of mine who's pregnant in her 40s as well has just said, you decide. If you feel happy to go over the 40 weeks and just keep trying for the spontaneous birth, then that's what you tell them. That's your choice. Obviously, medical professionals are going to tell you the risks, but the risks are only ever like very small. And when they say risk doubles, they mean it goes from 1% to 2%. So, you know, they don't tell you the full truth about it. And I've joined a VBAC group on Facebook, and I'm hearing all these amazing VBAC stories. So that's what I'm trying to manifest for myself.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear how it goes.
Yeah.
Sarah, what about you? What are you planning for your birth?
I'm planning C-section, so her birth date should be the 22nd of October. That's when we're booked in, we're ready to go. I live on an island in Scotland, and we generally have to be off the island 2 weeks before our due date so that we're near a hospital, because there's no way to give birth here unless it happens and happens quickly. So I need to be off the island on the 15th. I'll go and stay in an Airbnb, and then my C-section's booked for the 22nd. She's currently very breech, and she is not moving from that position. She's frank breech, which she sits right up high as well. But we don't care because obviously she's coming out C-section. And I've just always said that I was just never going to be that difficult customer, if you like. And what they tell me is what I trust in. And so they tell me I'll be week 39 when I have the section. And that's because I've changed hospitals from the one that I was going to originally. And originally, the first one, the consultant said that I could have the baby at week 38. But when we went for our 12-week scan, she measured 13 weeks because my egg donor and my husband are quite tall. She's very much on the healthier side of size and weight already. But she measured 13 weeks, which we couldn't physically possibly be because obviously IVF, the day dot. So I've lost that week in pregnancy there. And then if I'd had her at 38, it'd have meant really, as pregnancy goes, me having her at week 37. So this new consultant's put me to week 39, which I'm much happier about, just that she's got that extra week incubation time. I have said that if I go into natural labour and she moves, then we'll try it. I'm not against it. But at this moment in time, it's just all very regimentally planned. And I go off island, have the baby, hopefully back 2 days. They keep me in hospital 2 days, and then I'll be back with her, hopefully. Yeah, I said about music in the room. My music taste is so wide that I'm not going to know what I want to listen to on the day. So I'm like, maybe not for music and stuff like that. And obviously it's a spinal that I'll get rather than an epidural to numb the area. And thankfully, because the fibroid's not in the way, they can just go straight in. They don't envisage any problems. So that's just what we're doing. So that's just what it's going to be. And the delayed cord clamping, I'm in two minds at the minute because of how you can bank the cord as well. So I'm still doing the research on that as to whether I want to bank it or whether to allow the delayed cord clamping. I'm still debating that, but everything will just go with the flow. The whole pregnancy has been like that, so why not the birth as well?
Yeah. Awesome. Bidi, why don't you tell us what your birth plan is like?
I've been researching. I also haven't had a decision about the cord. I've been reading about it. I'm asking myself, like, a friend of mine told me, listen, and she has a 2-year-old toddler, so she still remembers. She said, you plan whatever you plan. I planned of bringing incense and stuff and music, and then I had an emergency C-section and whatever. And so plan whatever you plan, and then reality will hit in your face or something like that. So, but my aim is to do it as natural as possible. I do a lot of mobility exercises and eating dates and whatever, trying to stay as healthy as possible on the one hand. I was researching about if I can bring food or not to the delivery room because I'm thinking about, dude, this is like 5, 6 hours work. I'll be hungry. And basically, my main concern is the fact that, as I mentioned earlier, I moved here to Croatia. I speak the language pretty basic, and I'm worried that the nurses and the midwives and the people around me don't speak English well. They don't speak neither Portuguese or Spanish, of course not. So that's not happening. So how will I communicate in times of stress and in the times of whatever? And I'm not even sure that I want my partner in, or I'm still thinking about it. Like he wants to be in, super involved, but I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. This is scary because I read a lot about it. This is going to be smelly and hardcore and with a lot of fluids and a lot of drama and a lot of.
What an interesting
So
problem to have that language barrier.
it makes you wonder because you're all going to the place that you will communicate with the people that, with the service providers and the midwives and the nurses and the doctors. And I'm like barely communicating. I communicate pretty basic with my own doctor today, with my own OB/GYN.
Wow.
A lot of Google Translate.
Oh, I could just picture you having super quick births.
I hope.
Yeah.
Crossing my fingers.
Yeah. Okay. Now, you don't want to be induced? You want no medication? Can you do a water birth there?
No, and I was researching about that and about
Okay.
home birth and water birth. And I'm an endurance, like I did 4 marathons alongside all my adventures. Like I did a lot of and trail running and I'm ready for the pain. That's not what scares me. Like it's a positive train. Like I'm okay. I'm thinking about can we have sex before? That's what's on my mind because I read that it's really good for induced. Like how can we make it fun, natural as possible? And my main concern is that I'm talking to you right now, and then reality will hit in my face, and God knows what will happen. And I'm like, and no, I prefer to avoid drugs and as much as possible.
Yeah. I hope you get that because that's exactly what I want to do. Okay. What do we like least about pregnancy? What are your troubles? Who wants to start with this? Joanne, do you want to start with that one?
Sure. What do I like least is the not knowing. So I always love going to my visits because I'm like, all right, I got to quiet all of my worries. So not knowing, is the baby okay? Is the baby even like growing? I'm 6 months in and I feel like I look at other people that are as far along or even less than 5 months or whatever, and they're showing. I'm showing a little bit, so I feel like the bump isn't bumping enough, and so it makes me question if everything is okay. I remember one time I had a day where like the thoughts were just spiraling out of control and going to the negative places, which I'm not usually like that, but I just started thinking about the worst and just throughout the day. And then I felt a nudging to just sit down. And so I sat and I laid on the couch. This was probably about 5 months in. So I lay down on the couch. And then just within a few minutes, then I feel a pushing on my stomach. And that was the first time I ever felt the baby move.
Oh,
And when I tell you, of course, I start sobbing and just thanking God that everything is okay. It was almost like that was the moment because I spent the whole day worrying and just picturing just the worst. And it was like that moment was just for me to calm down and say, let me know that everything was okay. So I think that the worst part is when you worry because you don't know what's going on inside. And I think that's for me. And I too, so far, haven't experienced like all the morning sickness and all that crazy stuff. So it's the mental it's the mental part that's not easy.
Yeah, definitely. Sarah, you want to go next? What do you like least about pregnancy?
Probably the heartburn. If I've had one symptom, and
Yes.
because she sits so far up, there was a point around 6.5 to 7 months, I could only have one meal a day. I couldn't get anything more in because she just sat there and just pushed everything. And my pop rennies, like they're just sweets. They're the main food source at the minute. But yeah, I'd say that's the only thing. As I'm getting a little bit further on now, if I have a heavy day, I can feel like the round ligament pain in my hips. So I'm getting that a little bit on harder days. I would say that is my worst one there. With what Joanne's just said there as well, is that I've had 2 days. So there's been the odd spikes in days where we've had worries. And I've had 2 days where I've been back over to the hospital for them to check her movement because it had slowed down. And ironically, it was on days where I was very stressed within my work or what I was doing and the surroundings that I'd got going on. And those were her quietest days. And she's not a big mover anyway. She's not. I only have 3 times a day where she'll just move a little bit for me. She's not a big active baby, but yes, it was the stress of my surroundings and every day there that made her go really quiet.
Yeah.
So we had to go and get her checked. And she was fine, like I say, every time. It's great news, but yeah, they were 2 stressful times and I caused them. So it made me feel a little bit guilty, but then changed it. But yeah, other than heartburn, I wouldn't say that I've had any.
Not bad.
I feel really guilty at times. When you hear about everybody else's plights and you think, oh gosh, yeah, it sounds really bad. And I'm there, oh, this is great.
The heartburn, can we talk about like this heartburn is no joke?
It sure is.
No.
Yeah, it's
No, it's no
terrible.
joke.
And do you get it if you lay in bed and you sleep and you wake up in the morning and when you first sit up, there's just the agony there. I'm just like,
I sleep with a
whoa,
bottle
I've
of
done
water.
is at the side of the bed as well.
Yeah, but even on my left, I cannot find a good posture anymore. I feel like my stomach is somewhere
It's
here,
here.
like it's here,
Yeah.
and when you turn, I don't know. I agree with you on the heartburn, but I have to say that mentally, I cannot control my emotions anymore.
Oh.
I can get panic. I can get paranoia, like that. What you're describing, I had some really disturbing thoughts sometimes at times that I didn't expect. We had sex and I burst into tears after an I can't like after an I don't know after an orgasm. I know it sounds weird. Sometimes I'm like wake up in the mornings super motivated, super happy, and an hour later I'm like, oh, I hate my life. I hate myself. I think I'm like physically I'm okay, but mentally because I work out less than before, I don't run anymore because they told me like I should not do 10Ks and long distance running, which I used to do. So I feel that I have less adrenaline or less like less the chemicals of activity. I only do CrossFit, like weightlifting. So I think that my emotions and my ADHD and everything is like surfing up and I cannot control it. And I don't know if this is hormones, this is me. Is it me? Is it who is like, and
Yeah.
who am I becoming?
I get the hormonal emotion is I'm not a big crier. My sisters cry all the time. It's just not something that I do. But during this pregnancy, and I didn't really notice it with the first, is that I'm just like, I took my daughter to the park and this little girl wouldn't play with her. And I was in floods of tears going, this is so unfair. And I'm like, you're being ridiculous. But I just couldn't stop the tears coming. And then even earlier on today, I was having a little cry at something, and I was like, "What's wrong with me?" You just can't control it. I think my least favorite thing is the getting out of breath. I walk to the top of the stairs, and then I'm panting, and then I have to sit down, and then if I'm talking, I feel like I'm always out of breath when I'm having conversations with people because you just feel constantly like you have to take in big breaths, and I find that really frustrating. So that's got me these last few weeks, definitely. And especially when I'm running up and down the stairs because I've forgotten something and it's just, oh, I can't even face that hill now. I don't want to go up the stairs to get whatever it is I've forgotten.
How far are you again?
7 weeks.
I don't know what that means. How many months is that?
8,
Oh, that's
just
8
over
months.
8.
So that's
Yeah.
I'm still getting used to counting by weeks. I'm sorry.
No, it gets harder. He's weighing in at £6 11 ounces at the
Wow.
last scan. And he's obviously grown. That was 11 days ago. So I know he's growing. And right now I can't bend. I'm in that unbendable state. So when my daughter's laid on the floor going, put my shoes on, mummy, I'm like, there's absolutely no way I'm getting down there. You
I'm
can't even do the
33
bend
weeks.
action.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I was going to say I'm 33 weeks and mine's weighing in at £5 6 ounces at the minute.
Yeah.
I'm like, thank
when do
God
they
she's coming out the sunroof.
when do they start giving you that estimate? I don't know.
Yeah, I haven't
They
gotten
they
it
measure the
either.
femur, I think, in her leg, and then her stomach and her head, and they plot it on. In the UK, they plot it on a chart so they can see where you're meant to be at. And
What
please,
point
please.
do they do that? How
Yeah.
because I'm in the UK, IVF is we get more scans. So if
Yeah.
you just normally fall pregnant and you just have that normal pregnancy, if you like, if you can, it's for want of a better word, you just get 2 scans, one at 12 weeks and one at 20 weeks. When you're IVF, they put you through growth scans as well. And so I've had my 20 weeks, then I had one at 28, I've had one at 32, I've got one at 36, and then a midwife's appointment in between them to listen to heartbeats and stuff like that. So that's the UK way to do it when you're IVF, and that's how so I get a scan. I've got 1 scan left before she gets here, but
You're talking about ultrasound, like scan.
an ultrasound, yeah.
I have one every 6 weeks. It's like 5,
So
6 weeks,
yeah,
something like that. But they measure, okay, so they told me like in centimeters, like we use
Oh,
the
the
metric
fundal
system.
height.
So I don't know.
they
Yeah.
measure it, but on our scan screens, it shows you like the weeks, what she's weighing at as weeks. So when I was there on Thursday getting my last scan, they were measuring a femur, and I know obviously I'm 33 weeks and 2 days, but the measurements were showing 34 weeks and 5 days. And so when they plotted that, it's come that she weighs £5 6 ounces at the minute, with still
What's
weeks.
in a kilo?
£6 11 ounces is 3.03 kilos. She did say it was, and then she converted it. But yeah, but the last pregnancy at 39 plus 1, she was born at £8 4 ounces, but she was forecast to be an over 9-pounder,
Wow.
and she wasn't. But she was still a big baby. So yeah, I suppose if I'd gone full term with her, then she would have been a size. So I feel like it's smaller, but then he's done a very big growth. He was measuring throughout the pregnancy on the lower end, not on the worrying end, but on the lower to middle. But now he's jumped into the 80th percentile. He's on track to be a bit bigger. So
That's great.
But it's not a science. I mean, it is a science, but it's not 100% predictive proof, because I think lots of people's babies don't turn out to be the way that they
Same.
say that they're going to be.
Ladies, we are running a little bit out of time. We're going to get to the conclusion questions. Let's start with Sarah. Sarah, what are we not talking about when it comes to pregnancy over 40?
How normal it is. How perfectly normal it is for us to be the age we are and still happily pregnant. I think that I've experienced it all the way through my IVF journey of being made to feel as if I'm just too old, as if even the time we attempted with my eggs, you were always made to feel inadequate, too old, as if it wasn't ever going to work. And I think that they didn't give me the time of day because I was older. I think they always thought I was just going to be one of their failures, because I think they've checked in once since the IVF clinic, since I graduated from there at, say, it was 9 weeks when I went for the scan, and they've checked in once since to make sure everything's okay, see if I'm still pregnant. And I just think that they always thought I was going to be a failure. And so for that, I think that in a society now where we are getting older and waiting to have children, and some of us not even given the choice. It's not like I was there through choice at that age. We're not talking about the fact that it's perfectly normal now for us to be happy, healthy, and have healthy babies.
Katie, what do you think we aren't talking about?
Yeah, so I think when you do any research for how many women are getting pregnant over in their 40s, there's not really a lot that you can find. It was quite interesting when I went to the hospital because obviously I knew that I'm going to be 40, giving birth at 47. I obviously never expected to be that far along, but I was talking to the sonographer. I couldn't get that word out. And she was like, oh no, we've had women in here with 47, 48, but you just don't hear of it, like successful pregnancies. And the fact that medically they say you're at high risk if you're advanced maternal or you're IVF, but I was in the hospital, I've been in the hospital once during this pregnancy, and I've had no real big problems in the later part of it. And then I'm sat next to women who are telling me that they're 26, 27, and they're having all these problems, gestational diabetes, blood not flowing correctly. But they're going to be allowed to go natural, and they're going to be allowed to see how it all pans out. And it's just, I suppose it's a bit of a hypocritical way to look at it, and I think the medical profession do need to get more on board with. The midwife has been really great in saying it's your pregnancy. Obviously you don't want to put your baby at risk, but if you're comfortable, then it should be up to you what you do. And I don't feel like the medical professional, when you get to be over 40, to give you that choice. And I've learned from my second pregnancy that is a choice that I didn't know with my first. So I think it's education as well that we're lacking.
I love that. Joanne, what do you think? What are we not talking about?
I would echo exactly the same things that Katie and Sarah said. So I guess for the sake of diversity in thought, I would say we're not talking about the fun of it. And I think it's because of all those things, because the risks and how unusual or that are associated with the whole being pregnant at our ages. I have just been really, at the beginning, I was apprehensive to have fun with it. And by fun, just really enjoying it and even documenting it and even going to buy cute outfits and just making it a memorable experience because it's almost like you can lose it at any moment because of all the risks and all of this and all, and not to mention the whole IVF part of it. But I think like here's a more to paint a picture. I remember the first time that I put up a post on my social media about it. It took me days to really decide whether or not I wanted to do it because I'm old. I'm gonna look like no one's gonna care, or I'm gonna look silly because here I am, this geriatric pregnant lady, and I'm doing the pregnancy pose and posting a picture about being pregnant. So I had to get over that. And I think maybe we're not talking enough about how we can enjoy our pregnancies and have fun with it. Just because we're older doesn't mean that we can't have that experience.
Right. Yeah. And now you're thinking you're all like feeling sexy and stuff. So you did a 180.
Right?
Yeah.
I look like I'm one of them, but or people don't usually think that I'm 40 or above, but I proudly wear that.
Awesome. Good for you. Bidi, what about you? Are you ready?
Because everything you say, everything you girls say, I completely agree. I have to add, and I also think everything's gone pretty simple or pretty smooth until now. The journey went smooth till now. So I totally agree that cautious approach towards women over 40, pregnant over 40, and thinking that it's rare and it needs to be addressed. But I will add to that the mental issue, I feel in the past, maybe it's only subjective, that I feel that I've been stripping off of my identity. Because over 40, you already have a very full life, like career, achievements, your life. And now everything goes like where is it, how is it going to go together? Where is it going? You both are entrepreneurs, are holding your own businesses. You have something, it's not like a 20-year-old girl that's just starting her life and alongside motherhood, she will build her career or whatever. And this is something that I think that is not being addressed enough. Like I'm looking forward to the next step and how being specifically like this is first time mom, how will it be together with the already very fulfilled independent life that I have? And so that's my opinion on that.
I love that.
Yeah, that's perfect. So our next question is, how do you think pregnancy is different over 40? Katie, you want to start with that one?
I suppose I was never pregnant before 40, so I think it's more about how you perceive other people feel towards women that are pregnant over 40 rather than them actually necessarily perceiving that. Because both my sisters were pregnant in their 20s and early 30s. My sister has got an 18-year-old and I've got a 3-year-old. There's a huge, big difference. She's coming to the point where she'll be going off to enjoy her time with her husband, and I've built up my career, and then I'm obviously having children and taking, I wouldn't say a backseat, slowing down I'm at a comfortable place where I can stay and I don't have to push myself forward. But I think that's probably the positive, I think, of being pregnant at 40 is you know who you are. You know what you're about. And not that you've had all your life experiences, because of course you haven't. You're not worried about as much about what other people are doing and what you're missing out on and what you're going to have to give up. The nights out, the socializing, all that kind of stuff isn't the same when you're in your 40s and you're settled. And so I think that makes it easier. And I think as well, patience. I saw how my friends and my siblings were with their kids, and it's always what they're giving up, a bit of stress about what they're giving up for the children and things like that. Whereas I don't think I'll feel that, and I haven't felt that with my first child. It is all about her. It is all going to all be about them. And I'll always come second into it now, and I'm okay with that.
That's great. Joanne, what about you? How do you think pregnancy is different in your 40s?
By the way, I have an adopted daughter, so I do have
Oh,
that.
wonderful.
Yeah, so she's 15 now, and we adopted her at 4. So I do have motherhood under the belt. I think just being it's not so much for me an over 40 thing, it's just being pregnant. My thought of how that's different, I'm looking at it from like being a motherhood through adoption versus this.
Yeah.
And I feel what's been different with that is the experience from the beginning. And sometimes I think about how it's going to be different that you get to start from scratch in a way, raising a child, and how different that will be. Yeah, I don't know what's different. Yeah, you do know who you are and you have a better sense of how you want your kids the kind of people that you want to raise and how you want your kids to be. I think that I live with no regret and don't feel like I'm missing out on things and compromising who I am in order for me to have a kid. And I think if I were to really put a nail in it for me, or just to nail it down as to what's different, is for me at this age, I know what I want and I want this child. And I think that makes a difference when you are definitive about your decision. And I think that helps you move forward with certainty and without regret. And I think that flows to the baby and that flows to the way that you parent and the way you love your child. And I'm just so grateful. I speak so much life to my womb, and I just feel like that matters and that's impactful. And I don't know that I would have had that same sensibility if I was younger.
Yeah, that's great. Bidi, what about you? How do you think pregnancy is different over 40?
We should celebrate our bodies, definitely. And talking with you just reinforces that feeling like celebrating the win, because Katie said, oh, over 40, they put you in this category of kind of like high risk, geriatric. No, girls, we are super capable, super strong, super aware, maybe even more aware of our bodies than we were in our 20s, much less feeding it with well nutrition. We know what's good for us. We know what works for us better, like what kind of movements, what kind of food, we're much more aware and much more complete with our bodies. So I think that actually it's a strength and it's a virtue that makes our pregnancies over 40 probably, I don't know, much easier or smoother. I don't know if I can use those phrases in that term, but you all describe of a good journey with mild symptoms, and this is amazing. And this is part of the fact that you are mature in your, like complete with your body and not having that confusion of the 20s. I remember having in my 20s.
Yeah.
So
I get that. Sarah, what about you? How do you think pregnancy is different over 40?
Obviously, I don't have anything to compare it to other than my own life when I was 20, and it's like what everybody else has said. A 20-year-old me was far more chaotic than what the 44-year-old me is. And I think that's helped with the pregnancy, just with the whole laid back attitude of it. I say laid back, and I haven't always been, obviously, because of the trepidation of the fact that you're on the back of so much grief. But yeah, I think that age is helpful as an older mum, simply because you've had such life experience. And so you get to make decisions and you do things based on what you've learnt in life. And so, yeah, you are a bit more laid back to stuff, or you understand the importance, like you, Bidi, with the exercise. Like I say, I've not stopped training because it's important for body, healthy eating, that kind of thing. And even now, as I head into these last few weeks, I'm now in a position where I just think, I'm just going to let it take me where it takes me now. You know, I'm not going to stress about it. I'm going to just hopefully get to the end. We're both going to be happy and healthy at the end of it. And everybody's full of advice. You doom scroll through Instagram and this sort of thing. And when the algorithm switches to babies, everybody's got a bit of advice on how to get them to sleep, how to get them to feed. And you could just sit there and be completely overwhelmed. And I think if I was younger, I would have been massively overwhelmed. Whereas actually, I just thought, you know what, I'm just going to do it my way because I trust myself. And if I need help, I will ask, because I'm old enough to know that's maturity, that I will get that help if I need it. But other than that, I'm just going to trust myself, my older self, and just do it my way and bring my child up how I want to, or how we want to, obviously including Andrew there.
That's perfect, Sarah. Now, what advice would you give other women over 40 about pregnancy? Bidi, you want to go first?
Keep yourself healthy. Treat your body like a temple.
That's perfect. Sarah, what about you? What advice do you have for other women?
I would just say enjoy it. Just embrace every part of it. We've waited to get to this stage. Some of us have been trying for a long time. And so to be pregnant in your 40s, there's probably a reason that you are doing it then. And so I would just say enjoy it. Just give yourself over to it and just absolutely enjoy it.
That's perfect. Johanne, what about you?
Be courageous about it and speak life over yourself. Because again, going to these appointments and things and everybody being really forthcoming about, or just throwing the risk factors in your face. And I get why. I think just constantly speaking life over yourself and just being positive about it, I think matters and helps with the enjoyability factor.
Yeah. Katie, what about you? What advice do you have for other women?
I think it's advocate for yourself. Sarah said, if you've gone on a long journey to get here because you've been trying for a long time, or you've chosen to leave it till your 40s for whatever reason, just advocate for yourself. Have the pregnancy and the birth that you want. Just because you've left it to your 40s doesn't mean you have to rely on everything the medical professionals are telling you. It's your body, your pregnancy. So just enjoy it.
Yeah, beautiful.
Good.
Okay, ladies, we have fire question, just a yes or no question. Do you plan to have more babies in your 40s? Joanne?
Yes.
Biddy?
No.
Sarah?
No,
The,
not sure at this point.
it's okay. Katie, what about you?
No.
Okay. Ladies, what advice do you want to give the women who are trying to conceive right now? Sarah, what advice do you have?
I would say just never lose that hope. Just never lose it, because I honestly thought at one point that I was going to be, and my husband and I were going to be one of those couples that never got children. And I was okay with that. I'd accepted that. And yeah, it takes over your life, but just never give up hope, because medical science is advancing all the time and there are ways. So just don't give up the hope.
Katie, what advice do you have for the woman over 40 trying to conceive?
Yeah, like I say, it's easy to say relax, isn't it? And don't put too much pressure on yourself and don't get stressed and don't let the journey put you down. It's easy to say when you're on the other side of it, but it really is about looking after your body, looking after your health, yourself mentally, and preparing you, because it isn't an easy journey for everyone, but it is worth it. It is
Yeah.
worth the. You never remember all of the bad parts. You remember a lot more of the good the further along you get, and that's what you've got to hold on to. The bad kind of will just fade away.
Yeah. Biddy, what about you? What advice do you have for the woman over 40 trying to conceive?
There are many ways to get to the Holy Grail. And I love that. Of course, I want to say, relax, just let it go. Don't be stressed about it. And like Katie said, she said it better than me. But I'm thinking about the fact that to get to motherhood, to get to pregnancy, to a successful pregnancy, I hear it from many women that I meet. Most of the women that I met over 40 don't have my story, have similar stories to you, or and donors and IVF and treatments. And so there are many paths and trails to get to the peak of the mountain that you're aiming for, and believing that you'll find your own path in your own way.
I love it. Okay, ladies, we have just a few minutes. Let's do Instagram questions. I think we're just going to have one answer each of these. So, Joanne, because you had 15 years of a journey, how do you keep the hope?
I can only give credit to my faith on that, because God gave me a promise and I believed that promise and I trusted that promise. And the promise was that this will happen. I will conceive and it's going to happen at the right time, the time where it's not just going to be for you and your husband, for your family, it's going to impact many other people, which I'm seeing that in real time, and that this is bigger than just me. Not only are there's so many people who are believing for this, but they're believing for so many other things. And so this is a faith builder. And that's been what sustained me to continue to have hope for this. I know that we're going to see this thing through all the way.
Love it. Now, Katie, this woman asked, should I give up naturally getting pregnant and go for donor eggs first?
I think it's a personal choice, depending obviously on where you are as well. So for us, the donor supply in the UK is very limited. We actually went abroad the second time just to give us obviously more options. It's a hard decision because that biology, you always think that you've not got the biology, is it going to be different? But I would say, having experienced my first child, there is definitely an argument for nurture versus nature, because my daughter is the spit of me with her personality. She is very determined, knows her own mind, and will take no prisoners. So I think for me, I suppose how I feel about her. I don't even think about it. And other people might know and sometimes might make comments, which sometimes can be a bit hurtful. But other than that, and it's been the best decision because obviously it helps your chances after a certain point. And I think if you want to be a mother, does it matter how you get there?
That's perfect. And Sarah, if they have inflammation issues, did they change diet before transfer? Did anybody have any inflammation issues? I guess fibroids isn't really inflammation. No.
What I'd say to that is for AMH levels, so for your own eggs or that sort of thing, certainly I think processed foods and things like that now are full of, when I was going through the IVF, I went through all of it with inflammation and cutting things out in chemicals with what I cleaned the house with and all that kind of thing. Foods, making sure that they weren't ultra processed and all that sort of thing. And yeah, I think that, and Bidi said as well, if your body's a temple and you're making sure that you're giving it the best shot, and if you have inflammation, there are foods that are proven to worsen that situation. And so I would, to me, the fact that I just wanted to be a mum, I threw everything at it. And so if that was the case, I would be looking, and I wouldn't be looking at Instagram or as much as influencers and such like that are great. I'd be going to the professionals. I had acupuncture and spoke to a few professionals into what to do rather than just believed what everybody told me on social media, just to make sure that I was giving it the best shot. And then you can't say, regardless of what your outcome is, that you didn't give it all, that you didn't give it everything that you could do. I'm not a doctor, obviously, but I would recommend that if there's something that can be done, we should be trying it and doing it.
Yeah, that's great. One more question, rapid fire question. What is the hardest thing about pregnancy? Joanne, go.
Exercise. I don't know.
Katie, hardest thing about pregnancy?
Acid reflux and the not being able to breathe.
Bidi, what's the hardest part?
Heartburn.
Sarah?
Heartburn.
Yeah, I'm going to go heartburn as well. It's just universal.
Guys, Pepsid AC. Put that stuff on.
No, wake up in the middle of the night and taking some spoons of yogurt, like really just to ease it up. I've been like stuck.
We don't eat in bed or anything like that. We don't.
No, I go to the kitchen, I walk,
no,
I
but
pee.
I mean in that I have Rennies at the side of the bed and I just wake up, roll over, put two in my mouth, chew them, and then that's it, back to sleep. Just because the heartburn is real. Yeah. But what I want to know then, when we've all given birth, is whether our babies are hairy. Because they say
that if that's true, then I'm giving birth to Rapunzel.
Well, ladies,
I believe I'll have a hairy. I told my partner that if he will probably be ginger because my brother is ginger and I'm the only brunette in my. And I told him, listen, but I promise you it's yours, really.
Ladies, let's share where everyone can find you on the internet. Sarah, you want to go first?
Yeah, so I run my Instagram through my business, which is Tobermory Stores. I share a lot more on there, but it's my business profile that I use. I do have a personal one, but I never go on it. That might change once she's here, but we'll see.
Okay.
I've not decided yet whether I'm going to put baby online or not. Yeah, but for Tobermory Stores is where you can get me.
Okay. Joanne, what about you?
You can find me on Instagram at Johanne, that's spelled JoHannE P Wilson. All the information about even the book. I would love for everybody to grab that because that's going to have a lot about the pregnancy and my experience there. And once you get to the Instagram, it'll get you to all the other stuff, our fashion brand, the church, all the other fun stuff.
Awesome. Katie, what about you?
My Instagram is swashbuckle78.
Wonderful. Bidi, and you?
My Instagram is the running nomads with underscores. But yeah, you'll also, if I'll follow you guys. So I'm also publishing on Substack. I send an email once a week. It's not about pregnancy. It's about culture and politics and demonstrations around the world.
Wonderful. I'm going to have links to everyone. Awesome. Ladies, this has been so much fun. Thank you all for coming on the show and sharing your pregnancy journey.
Thank you for organizing.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah. All over the world. It is.
Yeah.
You know what's great is it's helped me personally to process all of it.